are this close.
We are this close.
Tuturek models.
This close to making history.
We are this close.
We are this
We're
close.
this close.
This close to changing the world. We are this close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
ever again.
We are this close to making history.
We are this close to ending polio.
Because we are this close to ending polio.
We are this close to ending polio.
We are this
close
close.
to changing the world.
This close.
All we need is you.
Is you.
It's you.
Is you.
We are this close. This close.
Be a part of history at rotary.org/endpolio.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to get into what Rotary does in the world and in this district and in your own local areas this morning. And I will welcome you to talk a little bit about the foundation. You've seen this slide before. It's all about doing good in the world and how we can make a difference using our time, our treasures, and our talents to support your foundation, the Rotary Foundation. As a reminder, this is the mission statement of the Rotary Foundation. And basically, it's a reminder of what we do and why we do it. Who makes up our team? This is the team. I'm not going to read you everyone's name, but look that over, and if you have any questions about alumni, about the permanent fund, annual giving, etc., please contact the person whose name is next to the job, and that person will help you learn more about whether it's a GSE team, a scholar, or whatever. What are our district's concerns? Well, this hasn't changed much from last year. We're still very concerned about how clubs support their foundation and how individual Rotarians support their foundation, the low number of benefactors, which has already been mentioned this morning, and also how you all can participate in the foundation's programs that you support. We're doing better. There's still plenty of opportunities out there for us, but I'm happy to say that life is getting better as you all become more educated about your foundation. There are a couple of areas that I'd like to spend some time on this morning. One is the annual programs fund, or every Rotarian every year. And this is how you are asked to make a financial contribution to the foundation to support the work that it does. What are those definitions? Well, every Rotarian every year is a contribution that makes you feel good inside. It might be as little as $5 if that's all you can afford. It could be as much as $1,000. But every Rotarian every year is something that we all hope that you all will consider in deciding what you're going to give. Rotary asks you as a Rotarian to contribute at least $100 a year. That's $25 a quarter. Many of you have that on your invoices that are sent out quarterly. And we hope that all of you as Rotarians will consider becoming sustaining members. We have one club today that we're going to give a banner to that was 100% sustaining member club, the Pickens Club. Paul Harris Society, Becky's already mentioned that this morning. That's $1,000 a year, and Bob Hanson would love to talk to you if your income would allow you to give $1,000 a year and become a member of the Paul Harris Society. And a major donor is $10,000 plus. Jackie McGuire, our major giving officer of our foundation, is here, and I'm going to introduce her in a moment, and I'm sure she'll have a few words to say about that. At mid-year, what are our results? Well, we had a district goal of $258,000, and we're at 43%. I had hoped to be able to tell you that we had gone over 50%, but there's still a number of clubs that are holding on to the contributions, and we want them to make sure to send those in. Polio Plus has been a great year for us. We've already given almost $89,000, and nothing has been given year to date to the permanent fund. This is the list of 20 clubs that have actually gone over 50% of their goal to the foundation. And while you look at that, I want to remind you that those contributions are going to peace and conflict resolution, disease treatment and prevention, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development. Now, those of you in the room who might represent one of the clubs that's listed here, I hope you'll go back and talk to your president or your secretary and ask them to get the treasurer to send the money that they're holding into the foundation. What we want to do is to make sure that every 6 months, as a minimum, clubs will send in their money to the foundation. So please, those clubs that are listed there, make sure that the money is sent in if it hasn't been done. And I understand Indian Land gave me a piece of paper this morning, so their money is on the way. The check is in the mail. Polio Plus. One of the major efforts of our foundation is to eradicate polio around the world. There's a new bivalent vaccine which we are now using successfully in a number of countries. As far as the $200 million challenge that we're all participating in, we now stand at $163 million that's been contributed towards that $200 million challenge. And our district, which also includes DDF that's been sent in, has contributed $280,000. So we are all doing well. Unfortunately, there's still 7 clubs in our district that are holding on to those polio eradication funds. And I'll be contacting you, asking you to make sure that you send those in so that we can hit that $200 million challenge in New Orleans when we all meet in May. A quick update, there are still 4 countries that are endemic with polio: Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, and Nigeria. You'll be interested in knowing that in Pakistan, that was the country that had the largest number of cases last year, which was 144, and the government there is now putting in a program to attack the major areas where polio is still rampant, and they are going to try to knock that number down to less than the teens. Afghanistan is also mostly free, but there are a number of conflict areas that still have polio. They only had 25 cases last year, which is exceptional for them. The big, great news is India and Nigeria. India last year had 42 cases, but that was down 87% from the year before. Nigeria had 42 cases, and that was down 20 cases, and that was down 78%. One of the things that we're seeing, though, is that a number of hot spots are developing. Angola, Chad, the Congo, and Sudan all had an unusually high number of polio cases that were seen last year. Those are primarily because of people crossing borders and moving into these countries and carrying the polio virus with them. Whenever that happens, the World Health Organization, Rotary, and the other organizations that are involved will attack those areas and try to knock that out before it gets established. We're still trying very hard to complete our goal by the year 2012, and it'll be 3 or 4, maybe 5 years after that before we can actually declare that polio has been eradicated in the world. So keep those contributions coming in. Another fund that is very important to us is ensuring the future of our foundation, and that's the permanent fund. We have a goal that by 2025 we will have collected $1 billion, and the interest income from that $1 billion will go a long way in supplementing our annual programs fund, the World Fund, allowing us to do more in the world. So those of you who are reaching retirement, please give a consideration to remembering Rotary in your wills, which will allow a contribution from your estate after you've passed on. There are a number of ways of doing that. The Bequest Society, and Jackie may be able to talk to you independently about that. You can do many types of investments, cash, stock, etc., and that'll help ensure that our foundation goes on. The benefactors. We always talk about benefactors at every meeting that we attend. It's an opportunity for your estate to leave $1,000 or more to the foundation after you have decided to leave this world. And of course, we'll take a check or cash today if you want to fill out a card and do that. You don't have to wait to become a benefactor. And what better way of remembering your participation and contribution to Rotary than to leave $1,000 in your estate to Rotary. One of the other ways that Rotary is now promoting is TRF Direct. There's some forms on the table up there. They look like this. If you're many of you I know pay your bills through bank drafts, etc. This is another easy way of making a contribution monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, annually, whichever you prefer, from either your checking account or your credit card. You can fill it out and forget about it. You don't have to worry about it being deducted. You will have a receipt on in your checkbook or your credit card whenever it comes out. And it's one way of guaranteeing the money gets to the Rotary Foundation with the least expensive cost to you, your club, etc. So think about that as an opportunity for the future. Very quickly, let's talk about what the Rotary Foundation did last year. That's in the year 2009-10. That's George's year, and George will be here this afternoon, I think. You all and the other 1.2 million Rotarians around the world gave $15 million more than in Carol's year, which was 2008-2009. $15 million more. And that's when everyone's talking about a bad economy. Thank you. The Annual Programs Fund received $100 million. The Permanent Fund, $10.5 million. Polio eradication, $152 million. And restricted giving was $6 million, for a total of $268 million was given by Rotarians around the world for the programs of your foundation. Of that 268, which is going to be invested now for 3 years, the money that had been invested previously, $227 million, was expensed by the foundation, and 82% of that went to awards and programs. So thank you all very much. There's a fact sheet up on the table if you're interested in more details about how that money was distributed. Pick one of these up, take it home, and talk to your club, and let people know that the contributions that you make to your foundation are doing good in the world. And now I'd like to introduce Jackie McGuire, who it wasn't hard to convince to come down from a cold and snowy Evanston to Greenwood, South Carolina, and she has a few words to say to us about major giving with our foundation.
Pull it through here.